Man, I finally got a chance to sit down and undistracted wade through this set. So we're going to give some off-the-cuff commentary about the cards for the 99, excluding all the legends. What cards seem fun to use or powerful, but can't sit in the command zone. These are cards I like, that's all, baby. Sit back, relax, put your feet up if you still have feet. Okay, first up. Well, wait a second, dude, I can't say this. This is a little bit risque, you know? Am I going to get demonetized for this? Somebody could have warned me. Well, honestly, we're going to skip this one, dude. I can't handle this so early in the video. Alright, for real this time, the Aven Interrupter is 1 white for a creature bird rogue. It's a 2/2 with flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield, exile target spell becomes plotted. Spells your opponents cast from graveyards or from exile cost 2 more to cast. So this is kind of a neat little counter spell guy. You're basically getting a turn cycle if you plot a creature or some other sorcery speed spell. If you blast a counter spell or something, it loses all its potency. Its owner may cast it as a sorcery on a later turn. This is kind of nuts, man. It's also kind of sweet in a blink deck. Blink and instant speed for more shenanigans, and I'm a sucker for a good shenanigan. Double down. So this is a really potent card in the right decks. So it's 3 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever you cast an outlaw spell, copy that spell, dude. So basically, the Outlaws is a super broad super tribe that covers some real monsters. Keep in mind that copying a legendary spell means it's going to die immediately to state-based actions, but the ETB and dies triggers, if there are any, will still go on the stack. It's a very neat card, man. Return the Favor. So this is 2 red mana for a spree card. It has +1. Copy target instant spell, sorcery spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy, or +1 change the target of target spell with a single target, dude. So this is a nice modal spell. I like these spree spells a lot. This can be a real blowout if somebody casts a nasty removal on one of your assets. I like the art too, man. This is what magic art should be. It's a little abstract, but gets the point across with flair. No pun intended. Caustic Bronco. I gotta read this thing. 1 and a black for a creature snake horse mount. It's a 2/2. Whenever it attacks, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. You lose life equal to that card's mana value if Caustic Bronco isn't saddled. Otherwise, each opponent loses that much life, has saddle for 3 mana. So basically, man, I feel like this card is a pretty neat card. It's a neat drain effect if you can saddle it up. I really dig this card in any deck that's using top deck manipulation to put a big 9 mana spell on there. Plus it's a snake horse, just like Mitt Romney, one of my favorite politicians. You know, it's a lizard people. This thing needs to attack, so it's not a Dark Confidant or anything, but I think it's a neat card. Railway Brawlers. So this is an amazing +1 counter enabler. It's got 2 relevant keywords, has that plot mechanic if you want to wait a turn and telegraph it. I think it's pretty okay for counters decks. You know, it's a little late in the curve. Usually you want this effect on turn 2 or 3 or something, but this is green, man. A turn 3 Railway Brawler is pretty achievable. Bandit's Haul. Now this can be pretty wacky in the right deck. Committing crimes, much like in real life, is pathetically easy in this game of Magic the Gathering. If you have a deck that targets, you may as well stick this in for later draw. It's not maybe the best card in the world, you know, but it's a solid little role player. That Bandit's Haul, it's too bad it only happens once per turn, but you know, we got the claim jumper here. Get it? It's a rabbit. It's a really nice white catch-up ramp card. Deck's not playing green. This can get up to 2 planes, and that's any plane. So if you're packing triomes or shocklands, those would work as well. This is excellent value, dude. This art is pretty wild too, man. Plus he's got vigilance. I really dig this card. Annie Joins Up. So this is 4 mana, legendary enchantment, Naya colors. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So this thing comes in, deals 5 damage, then doubles the triggers on your legends, dude. It's kind of nuts, man. It's going to do a ton of work in Naya decks, especially those with triggers in the command zone. Not for every deck, but this is a banger indeed. Deepmuck Desperado. 3 mana for a creature, a Homerid mercenary. When's the last time you saw a Homerid? It's a 2/4. Whenever you commit a crime, each opponent mills 3 cards, man. Probably my favorite card in the set, as an aficionado of Homerids, and reading the dang text, dude, mill decks usually target someone. Then they get value out of that mill. This card is going to be nuts in Phoenix. You know, every time you target somebody with one of those abilities, you're going to mill an additional 3 cards from everybody. Plus he's got that big butt on him, dude. Check that out. I'm specking hard on this card. 10,000 copies. And in a similar vein, the old Free Strider Lookout gets lands from the top 5 of your library when you commit a crime. Only once each turn though, much like the Homerit as well, dude. We can't overestimate it because it's only happening once a turn. You gotta be doing stuff at instant speed. This can be worth a slot if you're an interactive green deck, fight deck, and a deck that targets things at instant speed. Insatiable Avarice, so this is 1 black mana for a spree card, +2, search your library for a card, shuffle, put that card on top. It's a little like Vampiric Tutor, or plus black, target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. So these modal spells are all pretty good, right? It's just Kicker, has 2 kicker costs. Just say that, dude, we all like Kicker, no need to name it something Western or something, you know? We got the idea. Anyways, man, this is a pretty sweet tutor. It's pricey mana-wise, you know, it's more than Vampiric Tutor, it's not instant speed. This is a really dope way to get what you need out of your deck. Possibly for budget decks, we'll see where it lands. And this thing, Assimilation Aegis, this is a really neat card, really niche equipment that can take an opponent's Consecrated Sphinx or something, make your little token into that as long as it stays on the battlefield. The Azorius equipment archetype doesn't really exist, but I like this if only for the fact that it's interesting. However, it's 5 mana to get this effect, you know, 3 to cast, 2 to equip, so it's not the most fantastic card in the world, but like I said, man, I like interesting cards. The Key to the Vault, so 1 in a blue for a legendary artifact equipment has equipped for 2 in a blue. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library, so say you deal 3 damage with this modestly, you look at the top 3. Then you may exile a non-land card from among them, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost, so this is also 5 mana to get this effect. You know, very interesting equipment, lets you dig for a big old spell when an equipped creature deals combat damage, cast it for free. This is another really niche card, man. It's narrow, it's a little pricey, you know, goes great in a Dalekos deck though. Another round is a Blink deck's ultimate big stupid spell. You'll have a million triggers, but you need to pay 5 to do it twice, 7 for 3 times, and so on and so on. I don't think this is a butt blasting magic card, you know what I mean? I don't think it's amazing, but it is pretty cool. Goldvein Hydra, X and a green for a creature Hydra, it's a 0/0, Vigilance, Trample, Haste. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When it dies, create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to its power, man. Goldvein Hydra goes in a lot of decks, my Zagzara deck specifically, dude, but it has haste, it can bang in quick, and that treasure generation on death is just chef's kiss, dude. Very powerful card for a limited environment, and also when you're being a degenerate in Commander. Final Showdown. Now hear me out on this one. This is 1 white mana for a spree card, +1. All creatures lose all abilities until end of turn. So that's 2 mana for that. You can basically blunt a combo. You can do all kinds of stuff. Or you can have +1. Choose a creature you control. Gains indestructible until end of turn. Or for 3 white, destroy all creatures. So that would be 6 mana total. So basically, man, this is a really powerful board wipe. You know, it's 8 mana for all the effects. You can probably just pay into the bottom 2 abilities for a sweet board wipe, or just pay the 2 mana for the top one. I can see a lot of scenarios where this is just a good card. Don't sleep on the fact that this is an instant speed card as well, dude. You pay a little premium for that, but you can blunt an Alpha Strike, destroy everything, rebuild first. This is instant speed, dude. This could be a blowout. This little guy, the Cactusfolk, you know, he's pretty nice for big smashy creature decks, dude. And he grants trample and haste. I just like it. You can judge me if you want, you know. Sometimes you just want your creatures to bang in with trample and haste. I don't know what to tell you, man. Rakdos Joins Up. So this is the act of him joining up, but it's an enchantment. It's basically a strange reanimator enchantment that punishes opponents when legends you control die. This can be nuts if your commander gets really huge or arbitrarily huge, like Grevin. You know, you get this big giant creature, fling him at one opponent, double dip the damage on somebody else. It's a very niche card, you know, but it's also a very neat card in those decks. Outcast Trailblazer is a neat little draw engine akin to Garruk's Uprising, but with a very small butt. You gotta do squats, dude. You're gonna die in combat. What are you thinking? You know, it has this plot ability, so you can basically cast it and then casting it on a later turn without paying its mana cost, so you're gonna ramp 1 mana during that turn, which is kind of interesting. Neat card. Lively Dirge is another graveyard tutor, another spree card, and I'm always on the lookout for these graveyard tutors for my reanimator decks. You could also get a tiny reanimator spell out of it, though the big idea behind reanimator is to cheat out big creatures. So it could be really good in an Aristocrats deck utilizing smaller creatures, token makers, or if you just want to get specific things into the graveyard. Geese is out there with the boys, dude. You gotta love that. One last job, very interesting modal spell. You don't see a ton of white Reanimator, it's not as plentiful as in black, but it's got the second best Reanimator cards in the color wheel. You know, it's worth noting that this is a new one though. It's a little pricey, a little too much. You pay a premium for that modality. And lastly here, Rakdos Joins Up. These Joins Up cards are pretty interesting. They have a big emphasis on legendary creatures. You need a certain concentration of legends in this to make this consistent. 2 mana for those effects though is pretty good. Hopefully you have a big old commander that wants to swing in, right? Maybe somebody with trample so it's hard to block with that death touch trigger. I really like this card. And that's it, brother. Cards I like from the main set, some real bangers here. I'm gonna go have a dance with my doppelganger, my spectral doppelganger in the night, dude. Now listen, you may disagree with some of these cards. You may think I'm nuts for ignoring this card or that card, and that's your prerogative, dude. I would encourage you to let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe because you know what? That's what life's all about, dude. And I'm gonna blow you a little kiss when I read your comments. All right, Nicky G, Better Commander, signing off.